Okay. So actually, the further back that you can go, because it's a common ancestry for them, but also for us, later on.
Harry. His name was Harry in Portugal. Yes.
But actually talk, because there are all sorts of different branches that are there. There's the
Colombian one.
branch.
So, the Colombo ones I knew, because my sister and I went to Serenity, that's near Kovno, on holiday. And we were such ignorant, stupid young girls. We carried, who knew about traveler's checks? Maybe there wasn't traveler's checks in these days. So from an old sheet, we made a belt to carry under our panties. There weren't panties we wore, it was knickers. And we made a pocket in it, and we kept our money here. And if we wanted to pay for anything, we used to say, where's the ladies' toilet, so we can get some of the money out. Because we didn't carry it in handbags. Yeah, well, how much did how much money did we have? We had very little. Lee and I went on holiday. You lived in Johannesburg. So people in Johannesburg, young girls, went to warm baths for a holiday. Perhaps not even to Durban in these days. People didn't travel the way one travels today. So Lee and I went to night school to learn German. And we went to Germany on holiday on a boat from Leith, which is outside Edinburgh, to Hamburg. And it cost £1 a night. Bed and breakfast. It was a terrible price. A cousin of ours from Glasgow, my mother had cousins in Glasgow, 6 girls and 6 boys in the one family. They called their father Pa. Pa sat with a yamoke and his feet on a footstool and never worked. Gelernt. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no one got married in the whole family. None of them got married because someone wanted the second or the third daughter to marry her. But in these days, see, there's a lot of sun now.
I know, suddenly there's all the sun. Maybe if you looked away from the sun, looking over here, does this help any?
That's all right, doesn't worry me.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, but there was the sun.
The sun comes suddenly coming.
Oh, it all suddenly go away just as it came.
Yes, because it's raining outside now.
No.
It is worrying you a little, isn't it?
No.
Maybe we should look over here. I could get a chair or something.
Where's the better the sun? Behind? The side?
Oh, it's...
all over.
All over.
Not in one way.
Yeah.
Not a light side and a dark side.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes, that's true. But as soon as it goes down...
It's going down.
Oh, it's going down.
It's going down. Well, isn't it better just to take the pictures and have the talking afterwards?
No, unfortunately, the way that it works is it's all together.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
And is there a tape in here?
Yes, I've got a tape.
Mm-hmm.
The story that you were telling us about the family with no one married.
Yes.
None of them married.
None of them got married. I think the youngest boy got married, but we weren't supposed to know about it. I don't think she was Jewish. But I don't think they had any children. And they were all good-looking men. Really? All good-looking men. And all the girls stayed at home. One swept, and one cleaned, and one cooked, and one went shopping. And as each son died, he left the money to the family. So the youngest daughter, gosh, she was very ugly. And I was a good-looking...
And you remember?
Oh, yes, she was very ugly.
So
and she used to come on holidays to Edinburgh, and she'd take my fair curl and put it against the face. I wonder what I'd look like with fair hair. And I thought, just as ugly as you. She was...
Your grandparents, do you know where, I mean, as far back as you can go in terms of where people lived in Russia, where was that?
Seredniki.
Ray mentioned it, but I couldn't remember. It's
Yes.
a difficult name.
Seredniki, yes. Daddy's got a map. which I've got a map.
Uh-huh.
And Kovno was a big town. And Kovno had cobbles in the street. But the women wore heels like that. Shimmy heels, we called them. That's what, in these days, shimmy meant what? Jazz?
Maybe.
Jazz it may have, yes.
Yeah.
And we went to stay with my mother's sister. And and her mother-in-law stayed with her. And my mother's sister, husband, was killed by the Germans in the First World War. They shot him because they were running after a Jewish young girl, and he gave her sanctuary in his home. And they shot him in front of his wife. One doesn't go back. Who goes back? When you go back, a tortoise walks back, doesn't he? Yes, you go forward. Mind you, the hare and the tortoise, they always said, it was a book I was reading, this tortoise with his slowness came first. In life he never came first. The hare got there.
Really?
They always try and appease you by telling you the tortoise got there first. That because to show you if you are no good or you haven't made a success in life, you feel better. Is that right? That's right, yes. Psychologically, you feel better because you're a bit of a tortoise just now. And wherever I say to the man, he says, I'm such a shamil. My bread falls the butter side down, pile the other side to butter in. And I'll never forget this. Lynn told me. The shiksie washed her dishes, mixed them all together. The baby's not. And she didn't know what to do. She phoned the rabbi. He said, don't use it for 24 hours. So probably he thought to himself, this girl hasn't got a lot of money. She can't throw the dishes out. So she don't use it for 24 hours. And it made her happy. She knew her house was still a kosher house. Because, is that right? Perhaps that's how the rabbi worked it out.
Yeah. So the family,
that was
because you could trace.
That was my mother. Yeah, that's my mother. Yes, when my mother's mother died, she went to live with her elder sister, who was much older than she was.
When your mother's mother died.
Yes.
She went to with her.
Yes. Now
with
these.
the mother's eldest sister.
Yeah, these Columba people was my mother's nephew. What's his name? Actually, you should have interviewed Lee and I together, because I would have remembered.
And she would remember another.
No. Yeah, another name. What was his name? What was his name? Her nephew. He came to see Lee in Cape Town, in London. If he didn't come, his daughter came. This is not the Libby.
No.
This is the Columba ones.
The Columba.
Yeah, I've got the name in my diary. Yes, who it was. I keep see it now.
Now he was one of your mother's.
My mother's nephew. No, I'm talking now. The Columba ones is my mother's niece and nephews. The niece went away first of all. I remember her in Serenity, the niece.
You do?
Yes, and her husband.
When you went to visit them?
When we went to visit, she had a baby in her arms. And she had a pot of small money near the door, because there was beggars always coming. They never said no, they just put their hand in the pot. Mm-hmm. And my sister and I, to go and see them, we took a droshky as a horse and cart. And it was a Jewish driver. He was cussing and swearing to whoever, there was mud in the street, whoever got in his way, or if another car, no, there was no motor cars, it was horse and cart. This must have been in 1920. When did the First War finish? 1914, 1918?
Yeah.
It must have been 1920.
Sure.
Yes, it must have been 1920. We were a pair of sportsmen, my sister and I. We went to a silver wedding. What was the name? Eidkunen is a town on the border of Germany and Lithuania. So it's German there.
Yes.
We were supposed to meet a semi-relation of my mother's in Berlin. And we arrived in Hamburg and just sent a cable, because we can't come to Berlin, to come to Eidkunen. And I can't remember the town on the border. I saw the map, I remember. We went there. We were two, I would say we were brash Scotch girls. We were ignorant, not really ignorant, but we were not worldly or anything like that, yes. If a man came near us, we would get pregnant right away. And that's Udall, the one from South Colombia, yes. His name was Udall. Udall, and this is Udall's children who live in South America.
I see.
Is once, who's the architect?
Alberto.
Alberto was in London.
Yes.
He stayed with Lee.
Yes.
Everything, but if the curtain was hanging down, he always said, "You'll fix it. No problem."
No.
You did it badly though. There's a problem each time. He came, I don't know whether it was a fixie, he came from Holland. How? Did he have a car, did a old car? You see, when you talk to me about Ray and Sonia and Rita and family, and I'm in South Africa,
yes.
I only hear things by letters,
yes.
or when I came here.
And so Lee would know about the project.
Oh, she would know, yes, because they called her house. Chernak, and daughter was. My mother used to correspond with Harry's wife. What's her name? Celia, the grandmother of the ones that you know, that come from
Bogota.
What that?
From Bogota in Colombia.
Your mother's that's all I should have been answering. I hope so. Libby's mother was, she was Libby Festenstein.
Right.
Yes. Her mother was Celia, and usually it was called Turkey. My mother used to correspond with her. They used to live in Michigan.
Right. That's right, they still live
there. They still live
the
there.
sisters moved to San Diego, though.
Mm-hmm. Then there's Dresner, Edith and Emmanuel Dresner. They're from Bogota.
Right.
Colombia, yes.
Well, no, the name of the family there is Villalobos.
Yeah, no, the daughter married a Villalobos then.
That's exactly
Must have
the
been,
daughter
yeah.
married
Yeah,
Villalobos.
of course, yes.
Why did well, I mean, I know that the quality of the life wasn't good there, but what were the specific reasons that people,
Went
that
to
your
South
family
America.
left?
Went to South America.
No, to go from Russia to Scotland.
That's my parents.
Yes.
Yes. I couldn't make a living there, but things were bad. Listen,
They've
there
been
was
there
a
for
time
hundreds
that,
of years, though.
yes, but there must have been pogroms, not in their town, but in some other town. Where's that town that had a lot? Kiev, was it?
Kiev?
Yes, but they had a lot of pogroms. When they heard about it, I suppose they moved. And why they came to Scotland was My mother had her father's two sisters there. My mother's aunts lived in Edinburgh, and we came to Edinburgh. My father went first of all, perhaps for 6 months, to make a little home.
Sorry.
Paul phoned that he'll be here at 5:30 either. Sandra must have gone either to lunch there or gone there after lunch.
Gone where? To the home?
Yes, Sonia, yes.
Yes.
And they've just taken her home now.
Sorry.
They're going to make a big wicked witch.
Do you want to take his pieces for
They're going to make a big wicked queen.
No,
They're going to make a big...
Where's the delicious monster?
Joshie, I'm busy working here and I can't...
You only cry for 2 minutes. You forget it, yes. And I've always carried the names and addresses around with me.
You know you've probably updated this.
No, darling. It's last year's diary. I didn't... Sonia won't be poor, because when they sell the house and all my brother's money, which would have come to me and to Ray and to Lee, we've given to our children. The only thing is Lee's got 1 child, so she gets 1 lot. I've got 4, so each got 40 years. And also, I bought, together with Via Wolf, her husband rather, the property we have in Edinburgh, where Harry's shop was. Yes, so that it all came. Via got her half, and my children each got a quarter of half. You see, if I'd only 1 child, they would have had. The one would have had it.
Yeah. Did your father immediately go into the silver? Had your father been in the silver business?
What he did was, he was a working jeweler. And when we came to Edinburgh, Mother arrived with me a few months. And mind you, none of my friends knew I was born in, according to them, I'm born in Scotland. I don't tell them the truth. Who wants to be a Lithuanian?
Well, you were a babe in arms.
Oh, yes, under a year, yes. Under a year, yes. And my father went beforehand, but none of my mother's family helped him. So he used to go around to the jeweler's shop for repairs and bring it back to his little home, where he had a blow lamp and do the repairs, and take it back the next day and get paid for it. Yes, until he worked himself up a bit. Then he opened a little shop, then a bigger shop, then he bought a shop. The way everyone started. People worked, everyone worked for the children to have it easier. Am I right? When you say, you don't say thank you to South Africa, you must say thank you to South Africa, because your great-grandfather couldn't get into America, he had asthma. And thank God South Africa let anyone in, asthma or not.
They thought he had TB or something.
Well, they thought that's a story, and I don't believe every story that is told.
No.
When people tell a story, they tell it to their benefit. Am I right?
Maybe they didn't want asthmatics.
No, darling, and I never believe history either. It's the way it was told. As a matter of fact, I worked quite hard with the Union of Jewish Women, and I had a suggestion, this is so many years ago, 30 years ago, that we should go around to the aged homes with a tape recorder and talk to the old people and hear the story of how they came to South Africa.
Well, it's invaluable,
Mm-hmm.
which is why a tape like this is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So, where did you meet Grandpa?
My sister, Gus, years ago, you could take 2 years, first and second year medicine in Cape Town and Johannesburg. But you couldn't go any further. You had to go overseas. So the students came to either London, Edinburgh, or Dublin. And some went to Aberdeen. It was a good university there, yes. And they did finish the third, fourth, fifth, and I think sixth. And then I don't know whether they did the practical, whether they did it overseas. And they were all poor students. They left South Africa. The mother probably gave them a feather pillow, because the pillows are hard in Edinburgh. And the students were very bright in South Africa against the Afrikaans student. But when they arrived in Scotland, against the Scottish students who came from poor homes, they used to leave home with a bag of oatmeal to make porridge. That was a stable diet. They were also poor, but they were very bright. The Scottish engineers are very bright. They're all over England, perhaps America too. They're very bright. They've lived through hardship. I think when you live through hardship, you work harder. You dare not fail your year. So if you fail your year, or Paul fails a year, so your father pays for another year. Same with, I don't know, Stevie, because he changed in the 1 year another course. Mm-hmm. So your father pays for another year. But it couldn't happen with a poor student.
So you actually met Grandpa?
Oh no, so my sister married, yes, and she was pregnant, expecting a baby. And we had no family in South Africa, apart from Gus's family, who were poor. Yes. And I came out to be with my sister, but she had a baby.
In Cape Town?
In Cape Town, yes. In Lansdowne, Claremont, he had a practice. But he wasn't a smart doctor. He wasn't smart, he was a good man, an educated man. He could pick up any language from books, or go to classes. Take up Greek, take up this, take up that, yes. And he never made a lot of money in South Africa. So I came over, but my sister was expecting Viva. And I met Dr. Rom one day, and he asked me to come and drive on a Sunday. So I said to him, but you haven't got a car. I knew he was mean. Yes, I knew. He was a X-ray man. Radiologist, but he had a little way lived with a sister, but he never got married. But I said, you haven't got a car. I said, but my friend has a car. That was Grandpa Jack. Yes. So yes. So next Sunday, Jack asked me out for a drive. Yeah. So that's how I met him. And my parents came out for the wedding. And then Uncle Jack, see, he's not paying for the wedding. He got the telephone directory, the street directory, and started getting a list of people to ask for the wedding. And I said, my mother and father don't know a soul when they come here. Let's have, mind you, I must have been quite dreamy at the time. I must have lost it. Wish your mother was here to hear this. And I said to him, I said, I don't know anyone. Instead of that, look, you've got a big car, buy another car. My father will pay for it. So my husband, of the heiße Zähne, that's a Yiddish expression, on the hot tea, or the tea's still hot. You haven't blown it yet, you haven't poured it in the saucer to cool it yet. You went out and bought a car, £600 in these days. And I said, my father will pay for it. So we had a small wedding in my sister's house for the garden show. So that's how I
In
came
the
to...
garden.
Yes, and my mother and father came out for the wedding.
And then you stayed in South
And they brought me a silver canteen of cutlery, which Lynn has it. As she knows, she hasn't. Ruth has it. And then they brought me one year, I think it was a silver Georgian tea set, which Lynn has. You should have come in when we had all the silver here.
We could have gone over the history of all of this.
Yes. Now, I've still got, when I was in Switzerland, everyone said to me, you must buy a Swiss suit, a double knit suit. I can't remember the name, a well-known name. It cost £10 cheaper there. But I went to Switzerland. I must tell you this, you'll appreciate it. I used to come every second year to see my mother. And one year, Mark said, he must have been 17, you're going to see Granny this year. I said, no, I saw her last year, I'll go next year. She said, why don't you go this year? So out of the mouths of babes and suckling, either. So I got my husband used to going overseas every year, but he didn't pay for my fare. I saved it for my housekeeping. But I assure you, he asked your father, there was plenty of food in the house. Never grudged on food, plenty slabs of chocolate, but there was no waste. Yes. So I booked myself a trip from, then there was planes, and didn't tell my husband, from Cape Town to Rome, to Switzerland, to Paris, then back to London. And when I arrived in Rome, I sent him a copy of my itinerary. Once I was there, I couldn't do anything. So I had 3.5 weeks on the continent. Then I went to see my mother. So when I was in Switzerland, I bought a very nice Louis Philippe. Was he ever King of France? Louis Philippe? Or was it Prince? Yeah. It's of that time a crystal cake basket with a silver handle, which is beautiful. I'm giving it to Adam because I think they will look after silver. Yes. And I've also got a Victorian silver cake basket. Very dainty. I'll also give it to Adam. I bought Adam a silver tea set, but there's no hot water. And I feel guilty. I said I'll buy some to have hot water. You see the service?
Wow.
Jeanette, you should have been here when I was talking.
Interesting story.
Yes.
You want something to eat, Pete?
Nothing.
Piece of cake with it?
Nothing.
Biscuit.
Exactly.
No, not for me. No.
A lemon and ginger biscuit.
I'll tell you what you can do for me. No, give me a stool, because I can't drink hot tea. Bad for the complexion.
No. And Grandpa, he came out to South Africa with his parents.
With his parents.
But when he was older.
No. It was the 1914 war. He must have come when he was 16. Or 16 and a half. Russia was an ally of Britain against Germany. And it wasn't the Bolsheviks weren't in yet. They didn't get in until 1917, I think, or 18. Yes. And there was things in the newspapers in London where his family lived. What did his father do? I don't know what his father did. I think his mother sold brandy under the counter.
His mother was, and his father was like a Talmud Chacham. He did a lot of learning. Did he actually work?
He must have worked. What did they live on?
I heard that she was, they were well-to-do or something, that they'd come from some money or something.
Who? Mark Peter?
But Jack's father and mother, they were poor.
Hadn't Jack's mother had some money?
No, she used to sell
He
bread.
never worked.
They had a shop in District 6.
But he didn't work.
Who was in the shop? The
She
mother.
worked, and he was studying Talmud.
Which I think is all nonsense.
This
No.
is the message you want to leave for posterity.
What's that?
Peter
I mean,
can't
you, the matriarch, who will be there, whose blood will run in the veins of hundreds of rabbis, please God, for centuries to come.
I don't mind the rabbis sitting learning.
But the wife mustn't support them.
The wife must, even selling babies' dresses. Do you know what Brian said to me, whether he was joking or not? He doesn't mind working. He works very hard. He wouldn't mind to stop working and live off his earnings.
Be a long time, unfortunately.
Yes. This is a long time. In any case,
Can't the boy keep coming here, Peter?
No, of course he can't, because it provided major distraction.
is he happy?
I'm sorry, he can't have. He's not unhappy.
Mrs. Markowitz,
James,
is
you're
it-
going to talk, but you
is-
sit here, because Jake's going right out of the line.
Okay, we're going to get a biscuit.
if he's happy where he is, he's quite happy. A child is happy.
Yeah, you have to be careful what you say.
Yeah, what? So that was Udall. Udall, I don't know what Udall had that brother. They were farmers.
They were farmers.
Wait a minute. Well, they had a bit of ground.
Yeah.
They're farmers.
They
Big
lived
deal.
off the land.
They must have lived off the land because all they had to do, they baked their own bread, the proper Yiddish black bread, and this big hulk of a Lithuanian boy would take he used to cut it into themselves, with a big knife. They had no toilet in the house. So they had it in South Africa. Do you remember the toilet outside in your parents' home?
Not really. I remember it somehow.
Yes, that's right. They may have had it when you were a year old. Well, you didn't have it. Yeah, it was outside
Uh-huh.
In a little, yes,
hockey, yes, with a pot,
with
yes,
a chain.
yes. And Udall's younger brother was studying to be a lawyer because he was brilliant. And Lee and I arrived. I don't know how we came down from Kovna on a boat, a little boat, down the river, and it stopped at each little place. And we were dry, thirsty, and we asked a glass of water. We asked some water, but we said we said our Yiddish was bad. Give us the water between us, we meant. But the way we used between the Yiddish is it was in between us. The glass would stand between us.
Oh.
Well, one glass was enough. And we were dying to wee. So we went into the other room, and they gave us a potty. And we said, the boys are here, So we could hear. So the old grandmother, this is my mother's sister's mother-in-law who lived with them. Because her husband was she was already old. She says, she'll shower with the feet. Well, start scraping their feet on the ground. They make a noise so they won't hear us wee-weeing. But we were shy, young girls.
Was it just you and me?
Lee and I, yes.
And where was Ray? Was she really married?
No, I don't think she was married yet. Yeah, I don't think she was married. And it was a time in Germany when a coat cost an English pound, a winter wool coat, because the pound was in Germany after the war, the end of the war, they were down, down, down. And mind you, I was always smarter than Lee. I had the money. So she remained in the shop, and I remember the underground is different. It's like in Paris. Sortie means get back, get out. Way out.
Exit.
Exit, yes. So every station is sortie. So just the same way I remember the different stations where to go to the Wexel house, the changing house, to change a pound, because you got more change. Because we weren't not the way your mothers with the traveller shakes in our bag, which loses them and finds them again. We didn't, I don't think there was passports in these days. Do you know that? Nor did you require a driver's license to drive. You do. Yeah. So I used to go and to change the money. When we went to have our hair done, they gave us a paper bag. There was no plastic bags in these days, with our change. It was so many notes and so many cards for £1. What else can I tell you about it? We went to...
Did your mother ever go back after she came to
Yes, she went to an operation in Germany. Gallbladder. She went first to see the family. Ray tells the story that her father gave... The man had no money for cigarettes.
Which man?
Mark told me that Ray told him in Edinburgh that people who used to be wealthy couldn't win. But yes, my mother left all her clothes in Lithuania and they came back with just the one thing that she was wearing. The people after the war, they had no money at all, they had no food. They were down, down, down. Mind you, you don't remember.
This is after the 1918 war.
1914-18 war, yes.
You weren't born.
Yes, you weren't born, yes. But I'm talking about the Second World War. When I came here on holiday, my mother was living already with Lee. Or she'd come, no, she wasn't living with Lee, but she'd come to Lee because I was coming. Yes. Then I went, yes. So she said, go to the butcher. He'll owes me a fowl because I'm not in Edinburgh. You were rationed. And me being smart, I says, can you give me anything else? You know what he gave me? What do I know about meat? He gave me something, a terrible business to clean it. What would that be?
Maybe liver.
Oh, no, liver was easy. Yes, perhaps some kind of guts or something. When I brought it to it with a Monday, triumphantly I came back with a fowl and all this, the guts that the butcher had given me, sold me rather. Who's going to clean it? So I says, well, throw the bloody thing out. Gus says, you food? You don't throw food out. They were starving here. They were actually starving. They were allowed an egg a week. And they had the little bombs in London.
But he was in the army too.
Gus didn't feel bad in the army. He was an officer. He was in Israel, or the Far East. You know,
He
officers...
spoke many languages, Peter.
Mm.
Every time he went on a holiday to a place in Europe, he learned the language. If he was going to Hungary, Peter, in the year before he went to Hungary, he learned Hungarian.
He had a lot of charm, Gus. He was a different one to all our families. All the others were Naranskis, yes, all the were.
Grandpa's family came from England because they thought there was better opportunity in South Africa.
Grandpa,
No, because they
no,
were refused marriage.
no. Grandpa's, Jack Markowitz's parents came with a twin daughter and son. Antonio was a twin, to South Africa. I did not know he tried to get into America.
Japan.
What's that?
Jack's father.
I did not know. It's the first I hear about it, that he was turned back because of his asthma. It's possible. And I want to tell you something. If you tell a story 10 times, you begin to believe it yourself. No, I'm not, no,
But you don't believe it.
No, but I don't believe... Listen, I want to tell you something. I cannot cook. And my story it is all my friends, and I've been saying it for 20, 30 years, and I believe it now.
But you
It's a
can't
complete lie. No. I told to my husband when he proposed to me, I can't cook. He said, that's no problem, we'll get a cook. And I've lived with that story to all my friends. Now I believe it.
But he did get you a cook. He got you a cook called Lena.
He did. Big fat. Yes.
Wow.
But this,
And you paid her more than anybody else
No,
paid
no, we
because
paid
you
her
took her from a boarding house.
£5 a month, because she was getting £2.10. Yes.
And you took her from a boarding house.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, a boarding house. And one day, her day off, I tried to make a cookie with yeast. And it didn't rise. It was flat as a pancake and as heavy as lead.
You decided against it.
What did I do? I wrapped it in newspaper and we had the garbage outside in the yard, and I took all the garbage out and put it at the bottom so she wouldn't see it. I was ashamed. I didn't want to show her I made such a mess of it.
But did you ever cook, Mom?
Well, I remember once, Jeanette, I think perhaps you were.
I remember you were making the biscuits with a jam.
Oh no, baking I never mind.
Right.
Do you know why I didn't mind? You filled a tin with biscuits or you baked a cake. And when I baked a banana cake, I always baked two, so it's just as easy to double the recipes. Yes. And if you had a tin of biscuits, it would last 3 weeks. But if you cooked a meal, and half an hour later, everyone says, that was nice. It's in the past tense already. Finished. It's not the present, yeah. What was I talking
Jack
about?
coming to
Yes,
South Africa
he came to South Africa.
because he was going to be conscripted into
Yes,
the
no, he
English.
wasn't going to be conscripted. There was a news in the newspaper that they're going to conscript the Russians from the age of 18, I suppose, or 17, I don't know, in these years. Today it's 18. You've got the vote at 18, plus it was 17. They're going to conscript them for the army. So his father, his one and only son, actually he was a sport child.
He had a brother who had died.
Yes, but he never even knew him.
No.
Yes, he never knew that. That's why they called him Alter, and she was Alti. I think they called, if a child died beforehand, they called the second child there. He came there, and he was told, and I think he wore striped trousers. I'm not sure. He may have added that afterwards, the story. And if he added it, I believe it now. You see, you repeat it each time. And he went to Studderbus to get a job. Geoffrey Wittenberg's father, or grandfather, I'm not sure which, worked for Studderbus. And he was a tailoring business he had. And he had Studderbus were importing a certain kind of tweed or material. And they whipped the news to his father, and his father imported it, and he got the sack by Wittenberg. Yes. So when my husband went to get the job at Sutterman's, there was a general manager called Mr. Shearing, who was believed in God, and there was a Bible thumping Christian, and he says, Markowitz, you're a Jew. We don't employ Jews. So he was very quick on the uptake of your grandfather. He says, but Christ was a Jew. And that pleased Shearing, because he believed in Christ. So he got the job. And he stayed there for 20 years, because his father...
No, for 32, Mum.
Well, I don't remember. See, I can tell that. That'll go down in history.
32 years.
32 years. And they've started a book. Stutterver's, when I was in England, Stutterver's was sold to Manny Beck, Manny Beck's son.
To Graham Beck.
Graham Beck, yes.
Yeah.
Who bought it? A Jew bought the big Stutterford's building. And we thought how my husband would be pleased that he bought the Jew, it's in Jew's hand. And now Stutterford's has been sold.
But it's still in Jewish hands.
Yeah.
Well, not really.
No, it's Stutterford's and Greatermans.
Yes, but it was Kirsch Industries.
Was it?
Kirsch and Greatermans. Maybe that is it.
You see, Peter, all the big firms are headed by Jewish men who started it. Am I right, Kirsch, Bloom?
Well, in Bloom's case, it was his father.
It doesn't matter, but it's I mean Jewish blood.
But not anymore. I think
Oh
that-
no, the Afrikaners. If you look at the list of the head of any of the firms, it's all Afrikaners. I don't know, you're taking this down? Yes. Well, tell them, if they don't understand my accent, I'll come out to America and I'll explain it to them.
So he was tall, and when he went to the conscription office,
We didn't know conscription office, never went to the conscription office. As soon as his father saw it in the papers,
They went to South Africa.
Yes, they came to South Africa. Whether he went first to America, I don't know.
I see. He may have gone on his own.
Where did that come from? It came from me.
No, the American story, no.
Where
My
did it
father
come from?
told it to me. I don't know from where.
I don't know where he got
Years
it.
ago.
It's possible.
Maybe
In any
he went
case,
no, I think that he went there before England. Maybe. I don't know.
oh, it's possible then.
Yes, because they
And
came
they couldn't get in,
That's
yes.
right.
Yes, that's yes. But before South Africa,
Yeah,
then he came to England.
that's right.
My husband was 4 years of age when he came to England.
And they had come from Baranovich.
Yes, Baranovich, yes.
How far was that from the town that you were born in? Completely different.
It's quite yes. If you asked your father, or let me send you a photostat of the districts all there. I got it from Mark.
Well, you could put it on in between Peter here.
Yes.
So they were quite
Now
observant
your
people.
sister, Lynn, she has been to South America and visited the family. She could tell you about them.
I would only actually show them the beginning of this,
Mm.
you know, because it's more valuable to us to have.
I can only remember Udo's name, but the youngest son, it's a pity Lee should have been sitting here too, because she would add to it. The youngest son, because when Lee and I Lee went to the toilet outside, and suddenly there was a rap at the door, and newspaper was handed in by the youngest son, because there was no paper there, and Lee felt so ashamed he had to come out. You know, when you're young, you feel these things. And also today, you talk about things you wouldn't talk about as your bowels moved. Today you don't talk about it. And these days you never spoke about it. It was something to be ashamed. I remember seeing in one of Gus's books, I shouldn't tell you this kind of this, the professor says to the student, what do you call a good stool? And the answer is, twice round the pan and pointed at both ends. You know, it's in the medical book. Yes. But in these days, who would even think of such a thing? Like, for instance, Brian and Ivor and I are waiting for the plane to go to Edinburgh. So we stopped to have they stopped to have tea. I didn't have tea, coffee, or something for breakfast, a Danish. The Ivor said, excuse me. So Brian says, I know where he's gone. He's very regular at this time every morning. And you know who is also regular? The man who works here. No. Yes, I know. The minute he opens the door, he's there.
Growing up in
Why
Edinburgh.
Growing up in Edinburgh? The cold. I can only think of the cold.
Right.
You see, I'm a very cold person. But Mrs. Glon and McGawkey hate the heat. They're happier in winter. And if I'm in winter time, I'd like to be a squirrel, store my nuts, and go to sleep till summer starts. I don't like wearing a lot of clothes.
Mark, when he was an architect, used to say that anybody who got to design of a house in winter got an inferior design to anybody.
That's right. Because you can think it clear in the summer.
And your perceptions of South Africa when you first arrived, what did you think of it, having grown up in Scotland?
Lee lived in Lansdowne Road, Claremont, where there was a lot of Indian shops, or not Indians, coloured people's little shops. All I saw was a lot of children they had. There was always children playing around there. And even then, I wasn't a fool. I had read a little bit about South Africa, and we had met the South African students in Edinburgh, because Edinburgh's a university town. And I don't know, I think the local boys, we looked down on them because we felt that students from another town, also there was a student society lectures we used to go to. The students from, the South African student from Dublin, who were at the university in Dublin, used to come for inter-varsity, what do you call it, not discussion. What's the word, not discussion? One's argument for the government, one's against the government. Debate, yes, but debates, yes, regularly, yes. So that it brought us, it's good for the people, the Jewish people who were friendly with the students. That was Edinburgh. But it's very cold. Of course, you see, there was no central heating in these days. And there was a kitchen fire, so life was lived around the kitchen. I presume in America too, for people who have not big homes, for people who have not got maids, to clean out the ashes. It's an awful job. Have you ever lived with an open fire?
It is a big job.
Where have you ever seen?
In Los Angeles, we've had by now we put in a gas one, so we don't have the real thing, but it's a tremendous job to clean it up every day.
With the ashes to clean in the morning, and then you save one or two bits of coal that hasn't burnt out, that starts the other fire the next day. I didn't think Los Angeles would be so cold that you'd have an open fire.
It's a luxury. People have it for the aesthetics.
It looks nice.
Not, yes.
Aesthetic.
Not because it's cold enough really to require it.
Mm-hmm.
Did it seem backwards to you when you arrived after Scotland to go to South Africa? Very open. I mean, you like the weather there, I'm sure.
It didn't seem backwards because Lee didn't live in a sumptuous house. He didn't earn a lot of money. He was a young doctor. He was, working up a practice. And his parents were not wealthy. I didn't know. Oh, we knew one or two people who had better homes, who had also been students, but whose parents had money, made in South Africa, so they could help the son. So he didn't live in a small house. He lived in a bigger house.
You didn't want to go back?
No, then I became engaged. My parents came back for the wedding.
But then your sister subsequently went back.
No.
So you were all alone now?
No. When my husband, there was a house for sale and viewing on a Sunday. No, not viewing on a Sunday. Sunday, he had a car, Jack, and we went out to see the house, and there was no one in. And we looked through the keyhole, and we saw a pair of swords crossed over the dining room door, and we fell in love with the house because of those crossed swords. It was unusual. Which Jewish people had swords for their ancestors?
Yeah.
And we didn't have a hell of a lot of money. I had a sewing machine which I borrowed from Lee's mother-in-law, and we bought bolts of curtain material, and they made curtains for the dining room, for the sitting room. I think we had a second-hand carpet in the lounge. We bought it, Jeanette. We bought material from Bloch, a whole boat, with the same curtains in the lounge and the dining room.
But it was a beautiful house.
Do you remember that?
Avalon.
No, I'm talking of a house we lived near the Vonderbosch Cottage Hospital. But stupid people we were, because it was quarter of an hour to the bus walking, and 12 minutes to the train walking. But my husband had a car, So he used to take the car to the station, leave it outside, take the train into town, do his business, just out of it.
But you couldn't drive him, I understand.
What do you mean, who had money even to think of a car? Yes. So I had to go in either by bus or in by train. So it was quite an exhibition. But when I arrived, yes, I wasn't a fool because I said, there's no answer for South Africa with the blacks and the whites.
You said
There's
that even then.
Yes, there's too many blacks. There's so many children. Mind you, then I had no children. I wasn't married. I didn't think I would have four. You understand?
didn't?
4 was a big family.
Yes.
Yes. Why did you stop at 3, Jeanette?
I had already negative plan.
So?
So you can only have 3 children with impunity.
I'm not
Says, today they give you an injection. It's no problem. Funnily enough, I am have RH negative plan. Did you know that, Peter?
No. Last point, and then maybe you could read a story to Joshua or something, so we can have the two of you together.
Yes.
For posterity. What kind of, because he died really when I was 10 and you lived in Cape Town.
Who died when you were 10?
Grandpa.
Mm.
What kind of man was he?
How could a wife tell? If you had asked me the first year of my marriage and when I was romantic,
Right.
No, but you can tell about
But he was a very
before you were
principled man.
married. Before you were married.
what's that?
Before you were married, he was very charming, wasn't
Of course he was very charming, very, yes, and he had a wonderful tongue. He was very well read. Yes, he broke his leg running to school and went onto the back of a lorry, he and other boys, to get to school quickly. You know what a lorry is?
A truck.
Open at the back.
Yes.
Yes. And the driver spat on them to get them off. And he jumped off and he broke his leg. And his friend ran to tell his mother, his parents. And the mother, who was a very strong woman, the father was a small man, but she was very tall. Yes. And she carried him to the hospital. And when he was taken to the hospital, I presume they put it in splints then, but he had to walk with a crutch. And in these days they had wooden crutches. And when the man came in with a crutch and a sword, to cut not a sword with a saw, to cut it shorter, because he was a small boy, he thought he was going to cut his leg. This was perfectly true, yes. Yes.
But he was very charming before.
Yes, do you remember him? Charming, yes.
No, I mean before you were married.
Yes, I want to tell you something, Peter. I used to say to him, he could sell coal in Newcastle or ice in Iceland, because he had that charming tongue.
Really?
Yes. But he worried a lot.
He did?
Yes, he was a worry pot.
What did
He
he worry
didn't
about?
have
Black-
much courage.
No courage at all. Black Monday.
What did he worry about? He worried about...
He bought a property. He shouldn't have bought it. Of course he shouldn't have bought it. I said, he wanted me to come with him. And I said, go yourself, I'm busy. I had 2 children at the time. And even though he worked for Stutterwoods, he was a free agent in the morning. He would nip out and go to the auction sale. So he bought a property and comes back. Why did he buy it? He always lost his courage. I think
He was very successful. Stutterwoods, why did he leave there after 30-something years?
because the 2 English soldiers were hung up in Israel. Do you remember? Why? By the Jews.
Yes.
Because there was the Haganah. Yes. And then they were anti-Semitic. He felt that everything. Actually, they wanted him to change his name years ago. And there was a man called Shatnerstein who was working in the office, and he changed his name to Shannon. Yeah, but he would never change his name. Hello! What a lovely boy! What a lovely boy! I'm so glad he came in. I'm so happy he's coming, because I want to read a story to someone. I don't know. I'm not going to read it to Michael, no, and I'm not reading it to Daddy, but I'm going to read it to you. Come. What is this book all about? Tell me.
About a book.
What's the story called?
About a zoo.
It's a zoo.
It's a book.
Well, what is
The zoo book.
It's a zoo book. Hello, zoo book. That's a panda bear. Isn't it?
Yes.
See his eyes and his nose and his ears. And let's have a look what's inside the book. What is that? You know what it is.
Snake.
It's a snake. Do you like snakes?
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't. You can if you want. We've all got different tastes. What's that?
Dolphin.
Why, but he's out of the water. Is he jumping up?
Yes.
He must be happy. Do you jump when you're happy?
Yes.
Yes, that's good. Now, what are these?
Duck.
That's not ducks. It's a penguin. Do you know what they say about the penguin?
Yes.
His beak can hold as much as his belly can. You know what a belly is and a tummy? And you know what that is?
Tummy. Camel.
A mummy camel, a daddy camel, and that's the baby camel.
What's your camel called at home, Josh?
Camel nut.
Is that right?
Yes.
Ooh, what is that? That's a giraffe. They've got very long necks. You see?
Josh,
Oh.
when Grandpa came, you said he looked like a giraffe. Did you say Grandpa Mark looks like a giraffe?
Yes.
Why?
I know.
Because why?
What?
Was all the hair on his face like a giraffe? And what is that? A polar bear, is it? And this bear?
A bear.
What kind of bear? What's that color?
A brown bear.
A brown bear, yes. And that's a baby bear. He's not brown yet, but when he gets older, he'll be brown just like his mummy.
Has rose.
Just like the Negroes. Does that go well in America?
Black. Baby bear black.
What's that? Oh, I know what that is.
The elephant.
An elephant.
That's Bobby and that's red.
Yes. And this? The hippopotamus. Or do we just call it a hippo? They come from Africa. Is the hippos only in Africa? And that's another panda. It's a very big one. Who does this look like?
A monkey.
What does the monkey look like? He's got ears.
With ears.
That's his ear. Guess what he's eating? The banana. Do you see the banana?
And a fan.
That's a banana skin. They mustn't throw the banana skin on the floor. They must put it in the garbage. Tell the monkey that. Tell him.
No.
You know what the monkey said?
Yes.
There's no garbage bin here. That's why he put it in the car. And what's that? It's a gorilla. It's like a monkey, but uglier and bigger. And what's the baby gorilla playing with? What's that?
The ball.
A ball. What's the color of the ball?
Blue.
A blue ball. see ugly animals, I turn the pages quickly. Now that's beautiful.
This was and Bingo
That's a tiger, it's a Bengal tiger, yes. And what's the lion's name?
You.
Leo. Leo the lion.
What's his wife's name, Joe?
What's the wife's name? Linda the lion. That's a very nice. Guess what this is? These are the proper pelican. Pelican with a very, very big beak. You see the whole fish going in? And this was just caught a fish. And this little one here looks very sad. He's still looking for a fish. He hasn't found one yet. Now that's beautiful. What is that? It's a flamingo.
What's it?
It's a little bird. Yes, it's a fly. And what's that?
I don't know.